Know that chameleons don't change color just to hide? They actually speak a colorful language all their own. When a chameleon changes to this color, it probably means it is ready to rob a convenience store.
You're abandoned at birth, you're a person of color in America, you're a queer person in a Mormon community. Are there any other struggles you faced in life?
No, I think you really nailed it.
Spalding, look at the monitor and give the full name of this person.
Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler.
That's actor Jason Statham.
Prendiendo la MS. Pasa, Sa una noche flogo. Ahora sí explotó.
This jellyfish is basically a time bomb. Introducing the irukanji, a species of jellyfish native to the northern waters of the land down under, and possibly my least favourite animal in the entire ocean, because it is just a massive, spiteful cunt. Well, massive is misleading, as this little guy is tiny. I mean, ridiculously small, being not much bigger than your fingernail at the head and basically completely invisible to the naked eye. This is a fairly major problem, because behind that halo cloak frame they are dragging 3-foot-long tentacles and shocking absolutely no one.
Say the line, Bart.
It is one of the most venomous jellyfish in the ocean. Yeah! I'm so f***ing tired of the stealth poison multi-classes on OCE servers, dude. This shit is broken. You see, those 3-foot tentacles are covered with tiny little barbs, and at the barest touch, they will literally propel themselves into your skin like a bullet and inject you with the Australia Special, a pina colada cocktail of various neurotoxins. And upon being injected, you will feel absolutely f***ing nothing. You'll keep swimming around, splashing about in the water, kissing the homies, until you are overcome with a sudden, severe feeling of impending dread. I mean the kind of dread that will have you hysterically screaming that you are about to die. I am gonna die! I'm gonna die! I'm gonna f***ing die! That's because the invisible cunt here does psychic damage, inflicting a condition known as irukanji syndrome, which starts with a feeling of impending doom so strong there are records of people asking to be, avoiding a ban here, forcibly disconnected from God's Minecraft server. And that feeling of doom is warranted because about 30 minutes after being stung, that biological bomb goes off, with the venom initially causing extreme pain throughout your entire body. And after making you feel like a failed isekai protagonist, the venom then spikes your blood pressure and heart rate through the roof, which can cause heart attacks, blood clots, and has even been recorded to cause brain hemorrhages.
And the f***ed up part is, it doesn't have an anti-venom.
This thing sneak attacks you, waits 30 minutes, sends you a private DM telling you it got your ass, and there is not a f***ing thing you can do about it. Toxic little shit. This adorable little octopus is also the world's deadliest. Introducing the blue-ringed octopus, a species of cephalopod native to Australia, and in a shock to precisely 0 people at this point, it's venomous. Because of course it's f***ing venomous. Why wouldn't it be venomous? That'd make my life way too f***ing easy. Now, to its credit, unlike most of the toxic bullshit in this hellscape I call home, they at least have the common decency to be coloured like a f***ing neon sign. However, it immediately loses this credit by being the octopus equivalent of a f***ing hobbit, coming in smaller than a 50-cent coin. And this is a problem, because it is the most venomous octopus in the world. That's right, this fluoro spaghetti ball is packed to the brim with neurotoxin, more specifically, tetrodotoxin. You know, the same shit that turns cooking a puff fish into a quick time event? Yeah, these little guys are packing it too. However, because it is Australian, the blue-ringed octopus is on violence timing and is the only animal in the world to use this shit as an offensive measure by way of a venomous bite. But what does the venom actually do? Well, imagine you're wading through the rock pools with the homies, and you accidentally disturb this little gentleman's residence. The blue ring, taking the American approach to home defense, suctions onto your leg and bites you. Best part, it's completely painless. So if you're distracted by how thick your mate's looking in those Speedos, you aren't going to feel shit. That is, until your face starts tingling like TV static. It's warm out here under the sun, but you weren't sweating like this 5 minutes ago, and now you got a headache. You start to feel sick, weak. You go to call out, but your voice comes out slurred like you just knocked back a bottle of vodka.
2 shots of vodka.
And then suddenly, your legs come out from under you, and you hit the beach. Fun fact about tetrodotoxin. It's a paralytic. Freezes up your muscles one by one, starting with your arms and legs, which is why you're kissing the sand. You know what else is a muscle? Your diaphragm, the muscle that controls your breathing. And yeah, turns those bad boys off too. And so, your chest stops rising and falling, and you suffocate to death right there on the beach.
Now, you may be wondering, how come no one called an ambulance? That's easy. They didn't have time to. You went up to meet your ancestors in under 20 minutes. God ordered your ass with same-day shipping, and this little f***er delivered. Employee of the month.
Australia has a straight-up Pokemon. Introducing the brushtail possum, or more specifically, the golden brushtail possum. Native to the land down under and one of the rare examples of an Australian animal that isn't expressly designed to DoorDash you straight to heaven. You see, the brushtail is one of a grand total of 23 species of Australian possum, which, despite the name, share absolutely no relation to the red-blooded American opossum. These adorable little marsupials come in all shapes and sizes, from the ringtail possum to the sugar glider, and to our protagonist here, the golden brushtail, which is really just a common brushtail possum with a rare genetic mutation called leucism that causes them to lose the pigment in their skin. So basically, it's a fucking shiny Pokemon. Coming in at around 4.5 kilos and 40 centimeters in length, these tree-dwelling marsupials are nocturnal and primarily herbivores, mainly consisting on a diet of leaves and fruit. And for added cute points, as marsupials, yes, they carry around their babies in a little pouch like their roided out cousin the kangaroo. However, come on, the thing is from Australia, you didn't really think these bad boys would be squeaky clean, did ya? You see, they aren't entirely herbivores. Sure, they love a good salad. They will also quite happily raid a bird's nest and turn Tweety's kids into a 3-egg omelette. Roadkill? Sounds like a fine steak dinner to me.
And just because it's not a venomous predator, doesn't mean it can't take your fucking finger off. And the cherry on top, Aussie Pikachu here doesn't go Pika. No, you see, Down Under doesn't have Pokemon trainers, because when you step into the tall grass out here, you hear this absolute fucking demon.
This animal will peel your face off like a banana. Introducing the one creature that strikes fear into the hearts of every Aussie, the infamous, terrifying drop bear. A species of predatory marsupial exclusive to the land down under. This genuine nightmare may seem pretty normal at first, closely resembling the koala bear, and that is by design. You see, the drop bear is an ambush predator, patrolling the branches of the eucalyptus tree and using their keen sense of smell to detect incoming prey. And once they can smell you approaching, they will position themselves in the leaves of the trees, being basically impossible to spot unless you're actively looking for them. And even if you do see them, you're automatically going to assume it's a koala. And that assumption is probably going to be the last mistake you make, because walking under these things is inviting the most painful death you can think of. Once you've walked in the range, the drop bear will launch itself from a tree and aim directly for your head. Small animals will often be clapped on impact as the 20-kilo drop bear launches itself out of the tree so fast that it snaps their spine. And they're the lucky ones, because once they make contact with your head, drop bears will immediately puncture your scalp with their foreclaws and latch on like a fuzzy little face hugger. Once firmly attached to your skull, the drop bear will start to kick out your eyes with its hind claws in an attempt to blind you, and while they are forcing you to cosplay Daredevil, they will be tearing into your face with their fangs like a fucking chainsaw. The attacks are so vicious, most human victims end up being completely scalped and having their faces removed. And even if you manage to pull them off in the initial assault, those claws contain a potent neurotoxin which will paralyze you in under 5 minutes, allowing them to run you down and eat you alive. Australia loses roughly 600 people per year to drop bear attacks. So if you want to survive your trip down under, I have a secret to share with you about the drop bear. And that secret is that all of this is complete and utter bullshit. Drop bears aren't real. I made it all up. April Fool's cunt. This snake can take your arm off.
'Tis but a scratch.
Scratch? Your arm's off.
Introducing the fer-de-lance, a species of pit viper native to South America and Mexico, with this particular nope rope having quite possibly one of the nastiest fucking bites in the world. This is a fairly major problem, because this little has the temperament of an eshay at a train station, being incredibly aggressive and extremely territorial.
Both of you give me your wallets and your shoes, bar, otherwise I'll cave your heads in right here, right now, bar.
In fact, this toxic garden hose is such an aggressive little within its range, it makes up an average of 50% of all snake bites. However, despite the huge number of attacks, it's only fatal in 6% of bites. So why is it such a problem? Just because you live the bite doesn't mean you'll want to. You see, when a fer-de-lance bites you, this massive viper sinks its huge inch-long fangs into your skin and injects you with 2 teaspoons of venom. You will at this point notice a little status effect bar appear on the bottom of your screen. Don't worry about that. That's a mystery mouse tool that'll hurt us later. Upon being bitten, your blood pressure immediately crashes lower than the stock market and you start to feel very ill. The bite wound feels like you've been shot in the fucking leg, you start sweating like someone's looking through your browser history, and then you start puking your guts up. Shortly followed by you collapse into the ground in agony. Now, fer-de-lance venom is hemorrhagic, so while you're having a frat boy moment on the ground, the venom is breaking down the walls of your blood vessels, causing massive internal bleeding. At the same time, it's seeping into your bloodstream, causing it to thicken and start throwing clots. But hey, you're in luck. You were with a buddy when you got bitten. They rush you to the hospital, and because it's such a common snake bite, they have the anti-venom on hand and administer it immediately, counteracting the venom's effects. There is just one problem. The mystery mouse tool is still there, because anti-venom is not necromancy. So, all the dead tissue around the bite caused by the blood clots and internal bleeding, yeah, still very dead. In fact, it's so dead that it is rotting on your still alive body, in a process called necrosis. I can't show you a photo of necrosis because it's genuinely disgusting, but to put it in a term you can understand, the snake applies scarlet rot. Now, so long as that rot's still attached to you, it's gonna spread. So, there's only one way to stop it. Cut it off. Komodo dragons are horror villains. I mean, seriously, this industrial-sized lizard is easily one of the biggest assholes in the animal kingdom when it comes to hunting methods, packing a PhD in suffering and a double degree in biological warfare purely because they cannot be expending effort to hunt. You see, Godzilla's little cousin here is the largest lizard in the world, weighing up to 166 kilos and being a full 3.13 meters in length, which means, for the short kings in my audience, if you're brave enough, bang a motor transport right there. Now, being the reptile equivalent of a Cadillac Escalade means that the Komodo dragon needs to consume a lot of calories to keep that bulk going. However, rather than using that bulk to proactively chase down and body slam its prey, they can take down prey 3 times their size, because as if being a reptilian tank was not enough, they are also venomous. And this isn't just your run-of-the-mill snake venom that, gives you a nice quick 15-minute death. No. A Komodo hunt starts with it running up to its prey and giving it a nice big chomp on the leg, injecting it with hemorrhagic venom. After biting, the Komodo dragon off and just sits there watching. The confused and bewildered animal runs off into the forest, leaking blood, allowing that Komodo dragon to track it like a DoorDash order. A week goes by, and that bite wound isn't closing because hemorrhagic venom prevents blood clots. So, the animal is still slowly bleeding out, and the Komodo is still watching. More time passes. That bite wound gets infected because Komodos are carrion feeders, meaning that the inside of their mouth is full of enough rotting flesh and bacteria to give Asmongold a run for his money. The infection begins to drain the animal's strength, and the Komodo is still watching. Another week passes. The infection has spread, and the flesh has begun to rot. And you best believe that ass lizard is still there watching like he's waiting for his meal to heat up in the microwave. Once the bleeding, disease-ridden animal becomes too exhausted to move on its own and collapses, the Komodo strolls over and eats it alive, shredding it into chunks if it's larger, or if it's small enough, swallowing it whole as it screams on the way down. Even for me, man, that's fucked. This spider hunts with jump scares. But how? Introducing the trapdoor spider, a family of arachnid containing hundreds of species found in every continent on the globe. Meaning, yes, for once, this bad boy could be in your backyard and you'd never know. Now, trapdoor spiders are particularly interesting compared to other spiders due to their hunting method. You see, normal spiders tend to spend several hours spinning up some elaborate art piece for a fly to clothesline itself on. And tarantulas just jump shit. But trapdoor spiders, yeah, they hunt with a door. Very early on in life, trapdoor spiders dig themselves a hole. This silk-lined burrow will then serve as its home for basically its entire 20-year lifespan. Hell, they basically never leave the thing, like some neckbeard living in his mum's basement. But they've still got to eat, and since DoorDash does not deliver to spiders, this burrow doubles as their method for catching food. You see, they use their silk to craft a trapdoor over the burrow entrance. Then, using their fantastic arts and craft skills, they just bolt a bunch of random shit to their front door so it blends in perfectly with the floor. After finishing their construction project, they will spin up a bunch of basically invisible strands of web on the floor in the surrounding area that act as tripwires, feeding information back to their neckbeard nest whenever something steps on it. And when some unfortunate insect steps a little too close... Money! This bird is a serial killer.
Jesus Christ, you're the Bay Harbor Butcher.
I really hate that name.
Introducing the shrike, a group of feathery friends found all over the world, including the land down under. Now, at first glance, you may be thinking to yourself, how could this sweet little guy be a vicious killer? I mean, he's so tiny. They only grow up to around 30 centimeters and cap their weight out at 90 grams. And on top of being about as threatening as a fucking teddy bear, look at their claws. A shrike trying to end anything with its talons is like trying to stab a hippopotamus to death with a fucking pool noodle. Listen to the thing, it sings like it's on American Idol. It's a songbird, a branch geek. It never heard a fly. But I'm fucking onto you, Tweety.
You give me the fucking creeps, you know that, Dexter?
You may have everyone else fooled, but I know exactly what you are, because shrikes actually have another name. They're called fucking butcher birds. Yeah, that's right, the Dexter jokes actually had a fucking point. Now, you see, when the Bay Harbor butcher bird wants to hunt, they first start by selecting a target.
Tonight's the night.
Now, unlike Dexter, their code tells them they can eat whatever the fuck they want. Insects, mice, fuck me, even lizard. And once they pick their meal, they wait for the right moment and swoop on it. Now, while those claws might be fucking useless, they do have a signature weapon. That tiny hook on the end of their beak. And once they land on their victim, they slide that hook into its neck, perfectly slotting between their vertebrae and severing their fucking spinal cord. But converting their prey into a vegetable isn't enough. No. These sick fucks keep trophies. Once they have paralyzed their prey and shattered its spine, they will fly its corpse back to their larder, which is either a thorn bush or a fucking barbed wire fence. And once they get home, they fucking impale them. They will then leave that corpse there for days, occasionally biting chunks out of it, eating it like leftovers from the fucking fridge. Dexter collected blood slides. These fuckers create kebabs. This pigeon saved an entire army battalion.
Heroes never die.
Introducing our protagonist, Jeremy, a carrier pigeon who was in the employ of the US Army Signal Corps during World War I. You see, back in the oldie times, radio technology was, kind of dog shit. So carrier pigeons were still the meta for DMing the homies memes over distance. Which is how, in 1918, our feathered little shock trooper here ended up in France, with 500 US soldiers stuck 3 kilometers behind enemy lines, completely cut off from supply and reinforcement in a 7-day shootout. You see, Jeremy's battalion, juiced up on freedom and red crayons, had overextended and become trapped, surrounded on all sides by German soldiers. And to make matters worse, being stuck behind enemy lines meant they were now on the receiving end of US defense spending, being absolutely hammered with friendly artillery. Now, stuck as far away as they would have had more luck using their radio as fucking nunchucks than a comms device. So they began sending out carrier pigeons in an attempt to tell command to stop fucking shelling them and help on the point. However, the Germans were having none of that shit and shot every single carrier pigeon the battalion sent out of the air like they were running an AIM Labs warm-up. Until only one remained, Jeremy. Desperate and rapidly running out of soldiers, the battalion wrote a message and attached it to Jeremy, sending him into the air and watching him sail above the trees. And just when they thought he was clear, some f***ing sweat on the German side nailed him. The battalion watched in horror as their last hope spiraled out of the sky. The bullet tore straight through Jeremy's center of mass, destroying one eye, punching a hole through his chest, and blowing off one of his legs. And this giga chad of an animal tanked it.
Do you have any ibuprofen? I got a headache.
The Marines watched in awe as this mangled pigeon picked itself out of the mud and managed to fly clear of German fire. Jeremy made it the whole way back to base, delivering the message and saving a total of 194 soldiers. Not only did he get the job done, but he f***ing lived. He was granted one of the highest military honors the French army could provide and sent into retirement with his trainer. And when he eventually did pass several years later, he was preserved and placed in the Smithsonian, where you can go see him today. There he is. Absolute f***ing legend. Australia doesn't just have snakes and spiders. It has a tiger. Well, kinda. Introducing the thylacine, better known as the Tassie tiger. As the name suggests, native to my home state of Tasmania, this tiny little island off Australia's south coast. No, that is not New Zealand. They have hobbits, not tigers. Tiger isn't entirely correct. You see, the thylacine isn't a cat on steroids. You see, this bad boy is the largest carnivorous marsupial on the planet. Despite the kangaroo coming in at 7 foot tall and throwing kicks like Chun-Li, they are herbivores, and everything else with a pouch that eats meat is about the size of a chihuahua, making this 1.3 meter, 20 kilo kangaroo dog with a tiger persona the only marsupial apex predator. See, these things were ambush hunters, using stealth and speed to silently take down their prey like they're playing Assassin's Creed. On top of being a fully qualified Spec Ops agent, these things had a mouth on them to rival Kirby. Capable of opening their jaw a full 80 fucking degrees, which is absolutely terrifying and really cool. There's just one small problem. You may have picked up on me talking mostly in the past tense, and that all of this footage is in black and white. That's because we don't have a tiger. We had one. Unfortunately, the thylacine was driven to extinction in the late 1980s. By what exactly? The British. You see, when the Brits, did their thing and decided Tasmania was their house now actually, they brought with them livestock, namely sheep and cattle, which was a fucking blessing to the Tassie tiger, which rapidly added these walking meatballs with the survival instincts of a wet sock to their meal plans. It's free real estate. The colonists did not take kindly to the thylacine taking their livestock without a license in it, so they placed bounties on their heads. Never mind that these things never attacked humans and very rarely took their livestock. No, they were an inconvenience. And so, they were hunted down. One by one by one. For 70 fucking years. Until September 7th, 1936. When the last thylacine, Benjamin, died cold and alone in a cage at the Hobart Zoo. Usually I'd end these with a joke, but the fact that we wiped his entire bloodline and turned him into a fucking rug isn't that funny.